Recently, I was asked if you could use text-to-speech with Google Slides and make slide navigation and text-to-speech switch accessible. So the answer to the first question is, can you use text-to-speech with Google Slides? The answer is yes, but not in present mode. What happens in present mode is that either the controls to initiate text-to-speech are inaccessible, or if you do get text-to-speech to work, it can be out of sync with what you're seeing in the slideshow. So it's unsatisfactory no matter what. But what you can do is use instead of using present mode, use full screen mode. And how you get into full screen mode is to click the view on the menu bar and select full screen mode. You could also turn off rulers and guides. Let's do it. Okay, so it made the slide as big as it's going to get in this mode. You still have access to the navigation strip here. So the other thing is that I did test lots of text-to-speech extensions, and the one I like best that's available from the Chrome web store is Read&Write. When you load Read&Write, you will probably need to reload your browser, and you will also have to log into Read&Write. I used my my Google account to log in. And if you've just installed it, for 30 days, you get access to all the tools, including premium tools, for doing things like highlighting, and there's a dictionary, and there's other tools. And after 30 days, you have to pay for those premium features, but you still, for free, can access the text-to-speech free features. So the way it works is you hover the cursor over the play button and click play.
What does work? 1. Instead of present mode, use full screen mode. 2. Try using Read&Write for Google Chrome for the best text-to-speech experience.
Okay, as you can hear, it was high quality speech. It did the great highlighting as it was reading. It did mispronounce read and write, which is ironic, but it's not unusual. Text-to-speech often doesn't read things correctly or mispronounces things. Okay, so what's the difference between full screen mode and present mode? Well, in full screen mode, without having a user actually click on something, videos won't work. You can't make them work automatically. Same deal with audio. Animation only works in present mode. Animated GIFs, however, will work as long as they're real GIFs and not, say, WebMs. So can you adapt Google Slides for Switch users? And the answer to that is yes, definitely. What will you need? You'll need a switch, maybe two switch if you have a two switch user, a capable switch interface for one or two switch users, and in most cases, an additional utility like SwitchWedge. SwitchWedge is for Windows, and it will enable the single switch user to activate read and write and navigate. And depending on what kind of switch interface you have, the two switch user may need it as well. So let's just see how we would do text-to-speech. Let's go over that again. I'm going to hover the mouse cursor over the play button. I'm going to press the down arrow key on the keyboard and see how that navigated to the next slide. And if I click the play button
Can
now,
you adapt Google Slides with text-to-speech for Switch users? Yes, definitely.
okay, so we need to be able to recreate that sequence. So one way to do it is if you have the right switch interface, like this one here, the ATEC computer switch interface, and here's a close-up picture of it. This is a wired switch interface that connects to the USB port on your computer, whether it's a Mac or Windows. And you can plug switches in this row of jacks here. If you plug a switch into this jack, no matter what row of functions is being indicated as being active by the LEDs in this column over here, if you plug a switch in, doesn't matter which one of those rows is activated, and you press the switch, you'll send click. So that gets us our text-to-speech part. And then to navigate, if one of the first two rows is activated and you plug a switch in this third position here, when you press the switch, you'll get down arrow, and that will affect slide navigation. So if you have a Bluetooth applicator switch interface by Praetorian, you can make that work, but Praetorian switch interface doesn't send clicks, so you'll need the help of something like SwitchWedge to make it work. So what is SwitchWedge? It's a Windows application that intercepts a keystroke or other event that it's listening for and replaces that event, which I call a trigger, and sends a sequence of one or more characters or clicks to the most recently active application. And you can download it by following the link in the slideshow or in the link underneath in the description underneath the video. So if you follow that link, you'll get to this page, and from here you can click the download button. SwitchWedge is being downloaded, and once it's done, you want to go to the folder, which in my case is the downloads folder, and you want to right-click on the download image, which is a zip file, and extract it. And it's okay to extract it right to the downloads folder, but you can choose somewhere else if you like. Okay, SwitchWedge opened. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scan it to make sure that it's safe with Microsoft Defender. No threats. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is open it. Windows is going to warn me that you shouldn't trust this application, but we just scanned it and it seemed okay. So I'm going to click on this more info link, and it reveals a button. I'm going to click run anyway. And now SwitchWedge is ready to use. Okay, so the way SwitchWedge works is it listens for a trigger that we set on this row of buttons here. They're actually menus. I'm going to turn them all off except for one. And you turn them off by selecting none. I'm going to select this one as none. And I'm going to set column 3 to listen for 1, the numeral 1. Most switch interfaces will provide an option to send the numeral 1. And then I want to define the sequence that SwitchWedge will send when it hears the numeral 1. So I want to change the slide, so that happens by the down arrow. So I'm going to type down, which is SwitchWedge for down arrow, and I've enclosed the word down in curly braces. And and then the next thing we want to do is click, and so we do the same thing for click. We surround click with curly braces, and I'm going to assign this sequence that I just defined by clicking the button that says set seq 3. Okay. The other thing I want to do is I want to check this slow send box. That'll slow down the rate at which keystrokes are sent, and it makes it easier for me if I wanted to define a delay between the down arrow, which changes the slide, and the click that causes the text-to-speech. But before slow send can go into effect, I got to close SwitchWedge and reopen it, because it only goes into effect upon reopening. So it remembered that that's what we wanted. Okay, so I defined the sequence, and that also was remembered. I just need to activate SwitchWedge, which is currently in the off state. When it's off, it won't respond to triggers. Um, um, if you're not expecting it and SwitchWedge is on, it can be annoying because it will, at any time you type the number 1, it would do something other than what you expect, unless, of course, you want it to. So to turn SwitchWedge on, you press tilde on the keyboard, which is right below the escape key, or the backtick. You get notified that it's going to be turned on. You can just hit enter or click the OK box, and SwitchWedge is on. So actually, it looks like I've got more than one copy of it open, so I'm going to close one of them. And okay, so SwitchWedge is on. Normally, when it goes on, it disappears in the system tray. Let's go back to the slideshow, and we'll try it. So I'm going to click on a slide with some that precedes one with text on it. I'm going to hover my cursor over the play button, and I'm going to press 1 on the keyboard.
What do you need for switch accessibility? 1. A switch, or maybe 2.
So so you saw that that it did exactly what we wanted it to do. But let's insert a delay. So I'm going to you can do this if you just hit the tilde key again. It'll tell you that SwitchWedge is going to be turned off, and I'll press enter, and now it's off. And the reason I want to do that is because I want to type the numeral 1 in the next sequence. So I'm going to define the same sequence again, down, and this time I'm going to insert a character. I'm going to send a character to the slideshow that it won't respond to. In this case, the insert character, which is INS space, and now I'm going to type 18, and that tells SwitchWedge to send the insert character 18 times, and then we're going to follow that with click again. And I'm going to assign that sequence and activate SwitchWedge. And let's go back to that slide again. I'm going to hover over the mouse cursor, and this time we expect to see a small delay between slide navigation and text.
What do you need for switch accessibility? 1. A switch, or maybe 2. 2.
Okay, so it worked. And that concludes this video.